Leaders care. I've already shared this with you, but I want to bring to you a real life example of how when we care, we can improve morale, we can improve our relationship with our team, we can improve loyalty. The real life example I'd like to share with you is Winston Churchill. I'm going to take you back to 1915 when Churchill was the first Lord of the Admiralty, where he was part of the British War Cabinet. Churchill had an idea to be able to take Turkey out of the war and therefore remove one of Germany's greatest allies. This was the Dardanelles campaign, and part of that was Gallipoli. As we know, that was an absolute disaster and it killed hundreds of thousands of men. Following this disaster, very quickly, Churchill was removed from the war cabinet. However, within days of his removal from the war cabinet, Churchill had volunteered for the front line. On the 18th of November 1915, just days after being kicked out of the war cabinet, Churchill sailed for the front line on France as a lieutenant colonel in charge of the 6th Battalion Royal Scots Fusiliers. He had a battalion of over 1,000 men in his command. Churchill arrived on the front line on a charging black horse. He also had with him one valet, 2 grooms, a ton of luggage, and a bath along with a boiler so that he could heat up the water for his bath. You can imagine what his men thought when he arrived. He was already a politician, a failed politician who was responsible for the death of thousands of men. And here he was turning up on his horse with all of his accoutrements and his support staff. He was not very well received. However, within 24 hours, Churchill had summoned his officers from the battalion and he told them, "Gentlemen, I'm going to declare war on the lice." From this point forward, Churchill put the welfare of his men first. He ensured that their clothes were laundered. He ensured that every man had a hot bath. He ensured that high quality food was served to his men. And within days, the morale of the men had changed. They had started to accept him. They'd seen that he truly cared about their welfare and their well-being. And the morale and the loyalty of his troops was massively increased. One of Churchill's men was heard to say, "The morale of the men has been lifted to an almost unbelievable level within days of his arrival." Churchill went on to lead his men for a year and a half on the front line, taking them into battle, and it was often said he would be at the front leading the way. His men would often say to him, "Sir, get down," when bullets were flying around his head. Churchill, still standing, said, "If I need to duck, then the bullet has already passed me." This is the sort of man that Churchill was. He would lead from the front. He was very charismatic. He cared about his people. I hope that this example that I've just shared with you of where we put our people first, where we put our team first, where we actually take care of our team and we demonstrate this on a day-to-day basis, will give you some inspiration about how you can improve the morale, how you can improve the loyalty and the retention of your team and really start to get some fantastic outcomes because your leadership is one of caring.